Okay, I think I'm gonna slowly start. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to go through some things in no particular order, and we're going to take a look at things that have worked, failed, etc., what's coming, what we've done. So let's begin. So I think I'm going to start with marketing. So we did the Coinzilla campaign and the newsletter. So the stats we got from that is that Coinzilla really didn't do much. It's basically ads on different kinds of websites, even CoinGecko and big websites. But as we somewhat theorized, a lot of crypto, well, most if not all crypto users actually use AdBlock, and well, there's some that are inside the site, so you can really block them. But that is not even actually part of the problem. The part of the problem is that no person probably in the crypto space is going to click on an ad, and I find it to be very rare. Even if they might see it and then maybe Google it instead and take a look into it, but I don't think it's going to exactly work. So it doesn't feel as organic. Now I'll come back to the organic thing in a bit. We did the newsletter as well. So the newsletter stats seems that quite a lot of people clicked on our thing, our basically links in there and stuff, and it was pretty good. It was about like I think it was 2% click rate or something like that out of like I think 20,000 people, something like that. I'll correct those numbers if those exact numbers come up. But so a pretty decent amount, but it didn't exactly work a huge amount. So what we're looking for is doing a different approach, and that's making different kinds of pairs. So, for example, we currently have only wrapped Ether in Sushi, Shiba, and Uniswap. And what we want to do is add, for example, Shiba/Bruno, so you can directly trade from one to another without having to use ETH. So making Bruno actually more useful. So what our point also is because we have this redistribution tracker, that's kind of one of the main features. You can see everything in a pretty good detail. Is if you get that redistribution in Bruno tokens, you would have to sell Bruno basically to actually make use of it. So it kind of goes against the entire coin, kind of like it is used nothing other than for just selling, basically. That's what kind of happens. So we want to change that it has actual more utility, but not in just, for example, features it has, but actually literally using it. So we're looking into, for example, Shiba/Bruno, then, for example, Saitama/Bruno and Bruno/USDC pairs. So we want to add that kind of stuff. We'll definitely be asking perhaps what pairs people might be interested in, what they would like to see how that goes. Maybe pick the most popular ones and add those. So that's actually a huge part, because what's really decentralization if we're making all the decisions. So we'll definitely ask maybe in a poll or something before we have full governance actually added. So that's a short thing there. So we're gonna look into more things as well, hopefully. But yeah, we're trying to focus on pairs. Then we're gonna hopefully figure out. Well, the issue is with CoinGecko is we're waiting on them to reply, and they're taking their time because it really depends on the day, on the week, how they're feeling. It really just takes sometimes a lot of time, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get there in a day, sometimes it takes a week. So CoinGecko is our next hit still. So we want to get there. Once that's done, we'll get onto CoinMarketCap for sure as the next step. So all these are running in parallel. These are not like, oh, we're focusing on this, then we're going to do that, and then we're going to do that. So it's all in focus right now. So that's what we want to do. And we also are looking Bruno/BNB. I'll look into that. I'll have to ask the team because I'm not too great on technical questions on how that works. But one more thing. Um, Coinsbit, Hotbit, and Probit. We want to look into getting onto exchanges as well. So that's something important. We may have, well, we do have contacts in Probit, so we could look into that. So we're looking to get into more organic growth. So we're putting CG, I think it was sometime this week. So they're really, really slow to reply. It's pretty tough. So it's nothing we can do. We can't, threaten them to come on, put us in CG. So yeah, hopefully, not much longer. BNB will be good, low fees, absolutely. Let's see what's. Yeah, East gas fees are much lower than they were, but still not good. Definitely. I think we may have maybe a lot of investors in here who just can't pay the fees still. So it's pretty tough. Okay, right. Yeah, you guys can. I'm gonna go into officially, like you can guys talk on your mic and ask questions a little bit later, but you can drop your questions, rapid fire questions in the chat while I'm going through everything else. Right, I want to say Raylene Evo, who runs the Chinese community, huge thank you. I don't think he's in here. Very unfortunate. I want to thank him. I don't know if any of you have checked out the Chinese community. Well, there's everyone in Chinese, of course, but it's getting pretty big. It's like 380 members, so that's pretty cool. So that's good to see. Uh, we might be looking into maybe more communities, but once we get there, if the demand is high enough. But the Chinese community is way different. It's so separate and a really huge market. So that's why we went there, and really, really glad that we have someone handling that. And they're doing a great job. Right. So quickly, what we did before. So yeah, we added the redistribution tracker, and we added the add tokens. So you can add a few tokens that we hand selected. But here's the thing: we'll also want to involve people in here on what tokens they want to add. So in the same, if you go to the exchange link, actually have to find it real quick. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna drop it into the chat. Right, so if you go there, you see the redistribution, then you can connect your wallet, then you can also add tokens, and there's a few to select, and we want to make sure that we are going to ask you what kinds of stuff we're looking for in there. So we can do a poll, for example. I'll come into this in a moment. Before we add governance, we're going to do a few polls. The one issue with governance is if we were to start it, and let's say we drop a big thing onto you, right? So you have an option of something huge. Okay, where do we send $5,000? For what? And it's like 10 people voting. Then that's kind of a problem. So we want to start small. Once we get bigger, we'll start giving more and more bigger control to everyone, because it's going to be really hard to rig it in a way. Because when it's small, it'll be really, really easy to just set everything up in your favor. So it's just might be there's like no real competition in the options. It might be too one-sided and so on. So we're gonna start small. On top of governance, let me see here. Right. So governance, our main developer is away right now, who made the tracker, etc. He'll be back in a few days, and we have a rough estimation that governance might take 2 weeks to make, maybe slightly more. And hopefully we're gonna start finish it, let's just say next month. It could potentially low chance at the end of this month. That's likely not going to happen, but we can get it out by next month is a pretty good estimate. So once we get there, we'll have governance. We can start voting on different things and get maybe the community much more active, because they can choose stuff and they see that we're doing it. Right. So let me see. Yep. Okay, that should be a good good idea of what's going on right now. If somebody's confused about something, you can ask me right now, and any questions as well. It can be some fun questions as well. Doesn't have to be entirely important. And one more thing, if there's a technical question, I will answer it afterwards when I ask from the people who actually do the technical stuff. So that'll be all. Distribution tracker for customization. Very good question. Yeah. So right now, actually, let me connect my own wallet because it doesn't show everything until you do so. Hold on. Just so I see what everything exists and what we can definitely add. So one thing we definitely want to change is the look. Right now, it's just so far how it is. We want to improve the looks, the front end, make it much more beautiful. So yeah, right now we have a few trackable tokens. Okay, let's start from first. Lots more trackable tokens than right. Hold on a minute. Right, we want to add a much more better interface, so you can see much better where like how many tokens are burned, how many are burning, all those numbers, like all kinds of different statistics. Right now, you can already see the time frame for in what time you burned how much and how total you have made already. But we definitely want to add those small features, and I think it's definitely something we'll ask as well. So, what kind of maybe you want to maybe you have some idea what kind of thing do you want to see? You can definitely write that, and I can forward it so we can add it in, so it could easily doable. It's very important to really for us to actually ask about these things, because if we just add features that nobody wants, then we're doing basically nothing. So we'll definitely have to ask around. Maybe if there's something you want to see in there, you can tell us right now. We can definitely forward it. YouTube influencers. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think we did a few, um, but I don't think we've been looking too good enough. I think they've been pretty helpful. But we definitely need to. We're not too keen on the landscape of that. Every single platform is way more different than the other. There's like a tons of botted channels, YouTube videos with that are like lots of subscribers, no views, etc. It's pretty tough to really find them in the first place. But it's a good idea, and we would really like to see some recommendations if someone might know something, so I can look into that. Because we're not trying to like fully market on our own ideas. Well, it's a little bit of that, and also if something doesn't work, we'll ask everyone else what they think might be the good best next move. Right. Okay. Okay. Huge thank you. I'll write those down. We'll look into those and see if maybe we can get an answer or something like that. Because yeah, really important for us is organic growth. Because got more. Organic growth is really important because if we the more we focus on not doing that, is it'll just become extremely volatile, and it won't really end too well when everyone's in it for the money and not for the product. Well, a part of it is always that, but when it is only that, it's when it becomes really bad. Yeah, absolutely. I think the YouTube ones might be pretty good. So as long as we get more people in here and more people talking, everything will be much better. Yeah, absolutely. I also don't want where people are just typing each other and talking about nothing, basically nothing, as Sardem mentioned. I want people to actually like use our product that we have so far and will be continuing to develop. And we would really like to see if some people want to. Then there's the posting a screenshot of the tracker, and for example how much they've gained in redistribution already, for example. That kind of stuff we really love to see. A few did post, so that was really cool. Biggest catalysts. All right. Okay. I think. Well, it depends on how things come out. I think the biggest catalysts would be CoinGecko and CMC, but it really depends on when they reply and how long it takes for them to process us through. CMC can take sometimes like a good month. It really depends on their side, but I would put that either in March or April, both. Mm. Now, so March and April, yeah, I would say both could be CoinGecko CMC. Exchanges, we're not sure when we're able to get that, but we'll definitely be looking into it in April, I would say. But that's more of a bigger thing. That's a really, really tangible and huge thing. We'll first have to get in contact, see how it would work out, see if we have all the resources we need to pull it off, and so on. So it's definitely lower priority, but it would be absolutely one of the more incredible things to get. But a lot of these are what white paper changes. Well, I can't exactly say them off the top of my head, but the white paper is there. You can look through it. Usually, let me think. There were no really. Okay, hold on. So basically, there were no changes where we had one idea and then we changed it. We didn't have that kind of thing. So it was mostly adding things. So it's a more complete version. Hope that answers the question well enough. Before it was a little vague. Let's put it that way. Right now, it's way more clear what we're doing, what we have currently. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Does Crypto Messiah exist? Like, I don't think he's active. Okay. Um, you guys can ask more questions if you like. Really good questions so far, by the way. I like them. They're really good. If I answered something a little bit poorly, you can ask me to clarify something. No, competing against others. Good point. Well, I would like to say that there's actually not that many. Uh, well, let me put this another way. There's making these things. Okay, I got it. Sorry, it's a bit of a tough question because it's actually pretty complex to answer. But first of all, we okay, got it. All right. So redistribution tracker, it actually doesn't exist for many things, and these projects don't really last that long. Most of them die in a few months, and well, I think maybe yeah, actually, I think a ton of you probably have noticed that a lot of the redistribution trackers, well, that have redistribution in the first place, actually just that's all they have. They maybe 1-2%. They don't actually have a way to track it. They die off. Some that do don't actually have that many features. It's really basic. So all you can really see is, your token. That's it. You don't see anything more details, etc. Time frames. There's actually not that many of these on the market, even though it may seem like there is. There's just a lot of redistribution tokens, but there's not a lot that track these, actually tracking any of this. Or those that do may have really terrible versions of it, like having to use some weird system from Etherscan, copy pasting your thing into the contract, things like that. There was one that where you would go to Etherscan and then you would, I think, drop your wallet address in there, and then it would spit out an answer. It's just unintuitive. That's not good. Um, I think the huge competition thing we're going to be doing here is that we're actually going to pull through with everything, not just having, this one feature, but having governance, having more things. So having a bigger use case with more pairs, etc. So we have a huge variety of things to do. Because if there's another coin that maybe has also the same thing we do, well, they don't have these other things yet. So we're hoping to get that kind of position. There's like probably more things to say, but that's like the most basic version. So sorry, it took me a bit to formulate it because it is a pretty tough market in general. I would say every market is pretty tough. So good question. Good, thank you. Fiber momentum. Uh, we're not sure yet. We're still getting more fiber people on here. I can maybe say tomorrow. Like I could give a very definitive answer. But I think it probably has getting us momentum in some manner with people into the Telegram. But it's really hard to have these new people trust us in any way. It's always, even though we may have this, huge backlog of, oh sorry, huge backlog of things. Oh God, my throat. So yeah, we have this huge backlog of things, but people don't really go through it. So they may not really trust us. I'm gonna drink some water one moment. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, my throat just gave up. Right. Will Bruno also aim to create a total strategy for beam tokens? Ooh, fantastic question. Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm gonna that might not be a direct answer to the question, but I think a lot of meme tokens that you may have seen are meme tokens. Like literally they have no use case. And even if they do release it, it's like one thing. So it's, in some manner useful and useless at the same time. So you're not really going to use a coin for one feature. You're going to use it for a lot, unless that one feature is, very specific. For example, I mentioned, the anonymity of Monero, for example. That's already one huge feature. That's it. That kind of thing. So if you have one small useful feature, it's yeah, that's most of what the meme tokens are really, and we hope to change that. I think meme tokens are a good way to, get your spread the word, have a cool mascot, so on. In the future, we're gonna have an NFT and shopping thing as well, but that's really down the line. That's one of the most last things we're looking into as a complete top off to everything we have. So we're starting off as a huge utility token, and then later you can also do, all kinds of trading on there. And once we have all kinds of more different pairs, on every place we can really think of, then it's going to be an absolutely huge thing. but that takes time. So setting all these things up takes time. It takes a lot of money, and once we get to the stage where we'll be doing that marketplace thing, it's going to require more developers, and we'll have to get other more developers on board, and so on. I hope that answered the question. You can ask again if I got the idea wrong. But I think I'll also mention will be trying to go more into more pairs, more exchanges, getting into a more official territory. Let's put it that way. So once we have a more, you know, I think it'll in the long run help us a lot more when instead of just having a lot of people isn't really gonna do that much. We want to get, since we're actually trying to do an official product, deliver something, it should probably be the path we take, being getting onto all of these exchanges, so on, etc. We'll be looking into more marketing things, of course, on the sidelines, like for example those YouTubers you mentioned. That will be really useful to look into, and it'll probably help a lot too because those information, all the information can be in one place. So it's like we got this, and that, and it won't be too hard to get a quick summary. Basically, I think it'll be pretty good actually. Having someone explain it in detail as well would be pretty good. Oh, yeah, sir, Dev. I hope that you got everyone who asked the question so far. I hope the answer was good, and hope you enjoyed it. And I hope Paradox is still a part of the team. Yeah, absolutely. He's just not here today, unfortunately. Okay, really, really good questions. Last AMA was completely different. uh, Send you DM. Okay. Okay. Thanks for the DM. I'll look into that. Do we have more questions? I think a big bulk of the questions was probably asked. I'm just gonna look at myself if I missed anything to talk about real quick as well. We answered the question about CMC. Once we get onto CoinGecko, then we'll be looking into that. I'm gonna do a short summary of this. Right, actually, one thing I did forget to mention is the next thing we're developing is actually UI changes to the front end of the redistribution tracker and having multiple wallets at the same time. So I'm sure all of you have different wallets, so you can track things much easier and not have to constantly log in, log in, log out 10 million times. So that'll make things a bit more smooth to use, and we'll have some optimization, so on, so on. Because it takes hosting things is hard. Let's put it that way. things can get overwhelmed pretty easily. Wolf is another token, right? Don't know everything. I think our other developer may be answering. Yeah, there we go. That was answered in chat. You can check it out. I'm going to be waiting on more questions if you have them. If it happens to be a repeat question, then we'll be uploading AMA onto YouTube, so you can get the answers sorted and everything in one place. Okay, I'm going to go to the phase of whoever is going to win some Ethereum for actually being here. Thank you. Thanks everyone who made it here. Right, one moment. Okay. So I'm gonna use random number generator with how many people there's in here. Oh, did someone leave? Okay then. Right, so we're down one. Your chances of winning got higher. Let's see who wins. And it is Gabriel. It is number one.
Woohoo! All right.
Hello. You came at
Hey.
the last minute, man.
Say again?
You came at the last minute. It's a pretty good win, huh?
I was, man. I missed you guys, unfortunately, but I'm sure I'll hear about it whenever you guys get it posted.
Yeah, we can get it onto YouTube. I'm pretty sure people might be more interested in checking that out instead. I'm sure a lot of people have lives. Okay, so drop. You can. I think I can DM you, or if you don't care, you can drop the wallet literally into the chat. That's also fine. If you want a little bit more privacy, I can message you, or you can message me. Actually, I think as well. I think that should be enabled.
Right on. I'll go ahead and I'll just DM you on the side there.
All right, sure. If anybody gets more questions, meanwhile, you can ask them. If there will be none, then we'll just upload everything so far up to YouTube. Okay, I'm asking my dev to send the thing over. I'll drop the transaction. Well, you'll see it, but I'll drop the transaction thing in the chat just to confirm that it has been sent. Well, then it'll show your wallet. So I'm not sure if I will. Let me know what you think about that.
Yeah, that's perfect for me, man.
That's
And
all
I'll
right.
tell you what, I'm gonna take all this and I'm gonna re-ape back in with it. So thank you.
If you're gonna do that, drop the transaction and we'll see. I think that'll be great.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I think that's it for now. Thanks everyone who joined, and we're gonna do another one next week, probably on the same day. So we'll get back to work. Hopefully, fix the redistribution tracker. Get hopefully onto CoinGecko. Then hopefully making those pairs, Shiba Bruno, Saitama Bruno, etc. Making the coin more useful in general, not being just a substitute for, you know, ETH, simple as. And hopefully governance by next month, or at least some kind of progress, something tangible to go off, and lots of voting in the chat. Hopefully with some polls, what tokens to add to the trackers, so on. So lots of things going on, and we're going to hopefully deliver on all of those. So far we have, and we hope to not break that streak, which is why we don't really want to say like a concrete date, because we don't deliver it on there, then it's a betrayal of trust already. We don't want to we don't want to have that happen. Just want to say some kind of date that we can hopefully hit. And I would say that's all for now. So thanks everyone for being here, and have a good night, good morning, whatever day it might be, what time of day it might be. So thank you all.